Hello and welcome to the Actual Tech Media Summit. My name is Jess and I am excited to be here with you all today. But before we jump into our content, I have some basic information to cover with you all. Now let's kick off our day here today by taking a quick tour of your audience console, and we're going to start with the questions window. If you haven't already said hi, there is a whole giant awesome community of people out there, so reach out and give a wave to the other members of the Actual Tech Media community. Also keep in mind, if you have any tech issues today, a browser refresh is probably going to fix just about anything, but if those tech gremlins are clinging on, no problem. Just throw a comment in the question section and our crew will be there to help. We also want this to be an informative webinar for you, so throughout today's summit, we hope you'll get engaged and ask all your burning questions. Not only will we have team members responding to you over live chat, we also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of our presentation. And if we do not get to your question during the webinar, don't worry, because the awesome experts that we have here with us today will be following up with you after we wrap. All right, next up, there are going to be lots of cool aha brain light up moments on the summit today. And if you want to share those with your community, we love that. We've made it nice and easy. You can use the Twitter button right there in your audience console, and the hashtag for today's summit will automatically be added to your post. And our last stop on this guided tour, be sure to check out the handouts tab for some resources and takeaways from our speakers here today. We have an info pack collection of solution briefs, white papers, data sheets, free trials, ebooks, upcoming webinars, and more. So many great resources, so be sure to go and explore. And if that wasn't enough fun, we also have some exciting prizes that we'll be giving away throughout the summit today. Now, I will tell you a little bit more about those later on, but a few quick reminders for you all. First, you do need to be in attendance during the live webinar in order to qualify to win, and we will follow up with all winners after we wrap the summit today. Now, all of our winners must submit an IRS Form W9 to Actual Tech Media, and all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. If you're not sure what those are, you can find the full T's and C's in that Handouts tab. Again, just click on the Handouts tab, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll find them there. Now, the absolute most important thing to remember is that we love getting all of your insightful questions during these live webinars. In fact, we love it so much, we have a special additional prize for all you inquisitive folks out there. In today's summit, we will be giving away a prize for the best question asked in each of our live sessions. The expert speakers and teams will be reviewing all the questions asked after the webinar, which means even if your question does not get read out in a live session, there is still a chance to win. And if you are a lucky winner here today and you'd like to donate the value of your prize, we have several wonderful organizations that we partner with. So let us know when we follow up about your big win, and we will get that rolling for you. Again, we are so happy to have all of you here live with us at the summit today, and we want to keep that good feeling going. So let's connect on social media. Reach out and connect with Actual Tech Media on Twitter, LinkedIn. We have lots of great content, and we always want to hear from you. And if you're looking for more awesome resources and content right after we wrap the summit today, make sure you subscribe to the Actual Tech Media channel on YouTube. Another fun way to win a prize and grow this awesome community is to refer an industry friend or coworker to the Actual Tech Media webinar series. Now, you'll find a link to do that right in that Handouts tab, and you will be automatically redirected at the end of the webinar as well. Both you and your coworker could win a prize, and we hold those drawings every month. So be sure to refer a friend, because it could quite literally be a win-win situation. Next, we have a cool opportunity for all the decision makers out there to get connected with new and emerging tech and innovative vendors. Here's how it works. All you need to do is click on the link back in that Handouts tab and fill out the application. The Actual Tech crew will then match you with some vendors that we think you should be chatting with based on your needs. There will also be fun opportunities that you can choose to join in, like surveys, test running new solutions, extended demos, and so on. You'll get some chances to win extra prizes, chat with great people, and learn about the hottest new trends in tech. So be sure to apply or send the link to a decision maker in your team. Now, I want to take a quick minute here to remind you all about one of my all-time favorite resources, and that is ransomware.org. You can find out everything you need to know about ransomware, how to prepare, prevent, and recover. This site is jam-packed with information, helpful tips, checklists, strategic approaches, case studies, everything you need all in one place. So wherever you are in your ransomware preparedness journey, there is something for you at ransomware.org. Go check it out and start exploring. Okay, I have one more exciting resource that I have to tell you all about today. That is the Gorilla Guide Book Club. This is going to give you access to free enterprise IT books authored by top industry experts, so you can stay up to date on trending enterprise technology. And yes, these books will work on your Kindle, your mobile device, and again, completely free. You can download these awesome resources at gorilla.guide, and there's a link for you in the handouts tab as well. Okay, well, we have covered a lot of important things already, and I don't know about you all, but I am excited and ready to dive in, so let's get going.
Alrighty, hello and welcome, folks. It is shaping up to be a fantastic super summit here today, as we are going to be exploring the topic, crafting and implementing a data protection strategy and disaster recovery plan. In an era when data is a critical asset, developing a robust data protection strategy and disaster recovery plan is essential for every organization. And I'm sure that's why you're here, to make sure you're equipped to prevent ransomware attacks and data breaches, and to minimize the effects of data loss through an agile recovery plan. With attacks on the rise and data breaches becoming more frequent and ever more costly, now is the time to make sure your organization has an effective strategy, including risk assessment, encryption, and backup solutions. Whether you feel confident with your data protection and a disaster recovery plan, and you're here to keep on top of the newest tech in this rapidly evolving landscape, or you feel you're not yet where you should be, you're going to leave today with practical knowledge of what tools you can use to enhance your organization's resilience. The best part is that we have industry experts from 6 incredible teams presenting today. We have speakers from TierPoint, Zerto, Rubrik, Recovery Point, Veeam, and Wasabi, who are all here to share expert knowledge and advice. All of that in addition to our keynote presentation today. I know you're already pumped up to begin, and we have a boatload of information to cover today. So let's get things rolling here with just a last few bits of info, and then I'll get our speakers on out here with us. So very quickly, my name is Mackenzie Puddesy. I am your moderator here at Actual Tech Media today, and I've got my friends and fellow moderators, Jess Steinbach, Scott Becker, and Keith Ward in the wings here on live chat today. In more exciting news, aside from incredibly valuable information, we have got some prizes today. And honestly, these are some great prizes. We have got one of 3, or you could win one of 3 Kindle Scribes. We've got an Apple iPhone 15 Pro up for grabs. We've got an iMac with the new M3 chip. And we are going to be giving out $300 Amazon gift cards every half an hour. Now, reminder, you do need to be live and present here to win. As mentioned in the housekeeping video this morning, you can get all the full T's and C's in the handouts tab if you have any questions about that. Now, it's always great to say hi, say hello. I know we've got a big audience out there today, so I've been seeing lots of hellos, good mornings. Feel free to trickle those in. But if you guys haven't yet found that questions tab in the handouts window, they're nested there together. I'm going to pitch you all a question. I'm curious to know what all of your favorite tech gadgets are right now. Do you have a tool, a software? Is it AI, a specific device that you are just loving in the tech world? Feel free to drop that in the chat as a form of hello and conversation. Curious to see what you all say. Personally, I've been playing with a couple AI search products, Perplexity and Claude. So I'm loving using those. I see we've got iPhone OS 18, Playdate console, CarPlay. CarPlay is a sneaky good app. Like, you forget it's even an app until you're in a car and you're like, this is great. We've got Android tablets, ChatGPT, Drop Test. I don't know this one. Digging into DAM systems currently, which would be somewhat new for organization. Awesome. Gemini. Cool. Awesome. All right. I'm not going to read all these out because I might be here all day. But keep those coming. Feel free to comment on each other's comments and keep things interactive today. We've got 4 great sessions, 6 different teams represented, and feel free to add as many questions in the chat. We might be a little tight on time today in the Super Summit format for Q&As, but we will definitely try to get as much information out to you today, and there's always time for follow-ups too. All right, with that, again, one final welcome. Thank you all for being here. Let's have a great summit together. Our next thing before we get into our speakers is our keynote. I'm so excited to introduce our keynote speaker who has come to us from a galaxy far, far away to share his knowledge. As a leading industry expert in the force, a military strategist, and a disaster recovery expert, this Sith Lord and webinar moderator is no stranger to protecting valuable information. So will you please join me in welcoming the one, the only Darth Vader.
Welcome to the Super Summit. I need no introduction. I have been asked to present a keynote on data protection and disaster recovery, and given recent events, I think that's an excellent idea. So let's take a look at what the Empire has learned about these things and how they might be applied to your systems. With no further ado, I present 5 lessons the Empire learned after Luke blew it all up. Lesson number 1, improper risk assessment. For organizations, this means identifying critical data, including what data is most essential for business ops. Examples include customer information, financial records, intellectual property. And never forget to examine the data on the vulnerabilities from innocuous-looking thermal ports. Next, prioritize data based on sensitivity levels. For example, high, medium, and low are simple yet effective guides. Then, evaluate potential threats like cyber attacks, insider threats like a Jedi Master sneaking around, perhaps, social engineering, and natural disasters. In the Empire's case, we should have looked at the danger of small one-man fighters, which we didn't consider any threat. Lesson 2, data protection measures. No, not that data, and wrong sci-fi series. Let's start with access controls. Implement strong user authentication methods and restrict data access based on roles and permissions. In our case, we shouldn't have made the Imperial network available to any stupid droid who happened to be on the base. The second data protection measure is data encryption, including data at rest and in transit, to protect against unauthorized access in case of a breach. For instance, it's a bad idea to not encrypt information about which cell block a princess might be kept in. Your data backup strategy should include regular backups of critical data to multiple locations, including offsite storage. Remember the 3-2-1 rule and to check your backups regularly. Lesson 3, disaster recovery planning. This starts with recovery objectives, and the 2 main objectives here are the maximum acceptable downtime, or RTO, and data loss tolerance, or RPO, for critical systems. Another consideration is recovery site selection. You need to identify a suitable offsite location to host data and operations during a disaster, like, say, an ice planet. You also need a disaster recovery plan document. This is a detailed plan outlining steps for data restoration, system recovery, staff roles, and communication protocols. So if, for example, the Death Star goes kablooey, do we have plans to help us start building another one? Lesson 4, implementation and testing. Start here by assigning roles and responsibilities. Clearly designate individuals responsible for data protection, backup management, and disaster recovery tasks. Next, you need to do training and awareness. Educate employees on data protection policies, procedures, and best practices. Our future training, for instance, will include target practice for our stormtroopers. Then it's important to conduct periodic tests to validate backup integrity, recovery processes, and system functionality. Lesson 5, monitoring and review. When all these steps are in place, it's critical to monitor and review everything you've done. For this, begin by implementing continuous monitoring tools to detect suspicious activity and potential data breaches. In our case, we should have been more proactive in monitoring that blasted thermal port. Next, closely examine your incident response plan, or create one if you don't have one. Establish a defined process for responding to security incidents and data breaches. For instance, you might want to have a plan for getting a Grand Moff off the Death Star before it blows up. And it doesn't stop there. Regularly assess your data protection strategy and disaster recovery plan to adapt to evolving threats and business needs. Important items for regular review include compliance, like ensuring your data protection strategy aligns with relevant data privacy laws and cloud based solutions. Remember to leverage clouds for data backup, disaster recovery, and scalability. Also, carefully vet any third party vendors involved in data storage or processing. In short, the Empire has learned through painful experience about the best ways to create and implement data protection and disaster recovery plans. Hopefully, you learned from our mishaps how to protect your own data and systems. Enjoy the spectacular Super Summit, everyone. It's going to be a great show today. You're sure to gain a lot of important knowledge. May the Force be with you.
Well, Darth, thank you for that. I'm humbled to have you here, and incredible information, great metaphors. That's going to be a tough act to follow. I hope you all found some fun and entertainment with that. That is my fellow moderator, Keith Ward, who wanted to get a little bit creative with this keynote today. And it sounds from the comments there that you all didn't mind it. So that's great. So next thing up, you're going to see there's a poll. We're just asking, what is your time frame for adding new or updating existing IT solutions at your company? So, we're talking about crafting and implementing a data protection strategy and disaster recovery plan today. And so the question really here is, where are you at? Are you looking to get this done in the next 6 months, the next 6 to 12, or more like a year to 2 years out? Or perhaps you're not sure. You're just looking to figure out what your options are, what tools at your disposal, and start making some plans based on this newfound information. All right, I'm going to leave that up for just a second more. And with that, we are going to bring our first team out here for the Super Summit. We have got the incredible team of experts here from TierPoint and from HPE's Zerto. So without further ado, please welcome from the TierPoint team, Amy Fultenberg, the Senior Product Marketing Manager, as well as Bob Brown, the Lead Solutions Engineer at TierPoint. And from the Zerto side, we've got Alyssa Peck, who is the Customer Education Manager. We've got a great kind of roundtable-y style presentation here. So I'm going to hand it over to you three, and then I'll follow up with you on the other side. Take it away, Amy.
Good afternoon. I'm Amy Fultenberg, and I couldn't be more excited to welcome you to today's session. Joining me are two IT powerhouses, my esteemed colleague from TierPoint, Bob Brown, and our trusted partner from Zerto, Alyssa Peck. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll be diving into the latest advancements in data protection and disaster recovery. We'll explore strategies designed to strengthen your digital defenses and ensure your critical workloads are safeguarded against any threat. So let's get started by introducing Zerto and how they empower organizations like yours to protect your most valuable digital assets.
Thanks, Amy. Hi, everyone. I'm a product marketing manager at Zerto, and I'm excited to be talking to you today with TierPoint. For those of you who aren't familiar with Zerto, there is one thing you'll all probably remember: the CrowdStrike outage in July. Lots of companies worldwide got the blue screen of death. Maybe that incident or some other one has happened to you in the past. You might have times where you wish you could just rewind all of your systems in an orchestrated way to a time just before an incident took place. With Zerto, you can do just that. Zerto is a disaster recovery solution with many use cases. You can use Zerto replication to recover from cyber attacks, disasters, and move workloads from, to, and between hypervisors and clouds. With traditional backup or recovery solutions, this process can take many painstaking hours with hours of data loss. But with Zerto, it takes just minutes with data loss of only seconds. Zerto is a tool that customers can use on their own, or it can be managed by partners like TierPoint. I'll hand it back over to Amy and Bob to tell you more about TierPoint.
Thanks, Elisa. Now, Bob, let's dive into how TierPoint complements Zerto by providing a comprehensive range of IT solutions tailored to meet our clients' needs.
Thanks, Amy. Hello, everyone. My name is Bob Brown. I'm a lead solutions engineer here at TierPoint. I've been working with companies helping them design and implement disaster recovery and data protection solutions for over 25 years. Here at TierPoint, we offer a variety of solutions that are designed to align with both the IT and the business objectives of our customers. A lot of our focus is on cloud-based production and disaster recovery solutions, helping our customers choose the proper environment for the specific workload, whether it be public cloud, hosted private cloud, our multi-tenant cloud, or it could be a co-location solution. We're also supporting customers that are utilizing IBM power systems and mainframes, offering both production and DR solutions for these systems. We have a full suite of security services that can be seamlessly integrated with any of our managed solutions, enhancing the overall security profile of our customers. And lastly, TierPoint's consulting and professional services span our entire solution portfolio, including support for business impact analysis to enhance your disaster recovery planning.
So to set the stage, Elisa, can you share how Zerto and TierPoint collaborate to solve for all disruptions, both unplanned and planned?
Yes. By unplanned, we mean the disasters and incidents that can really put IT on their heels. These are the reactive events that you have to be prepared for. Yes, it's natural disasters, but it's also handling simple file corruptions all the way to serious cybersecurity breaches. But on the other hand, there are good disruptions, the kind of disruptions that can drive a business forward and drive digital transformation. These planned disruptions are the proactive initiatives that will help you to meet strategic objectives. And you can see on the right here, there are some examples, such as cloud adoption or pursuing a growth strategy through M&A. What Zerto is enabling here is allowing IT to be resilient enough to stay protected no matter what disruptions come along, while simultaneously innovating for the future and proactively leveraging our technology to progress their business.
So, Bob, can you walk us through what a solid protection plan looks like and what it should include?
Sure. The best place to start when determining the proper data protection plan for a company is understanding the individual recovery point objectives and recovery time objectives, or RPOs and RTOs, and that needs to be done for each individual application. I always suggest a company utilizes a business impact analysis, which will help them determine the criticality of applications in their environment and what the downtime of each application will cost the company. Once we have that understanding, we can work with the customer to determine what is going to be the best solution for each of the applications. The overall solution that's put in place needs to hit on three main components: detection, protection, and recovery. Together, these elements form a comprehensive strategy that is not only going to safeguard your data, but will also ensure that you can quickly bounce back from any disruptions.
Great. So, as Bob mentioned, RPO and RTO are critical components of a solid plan. Elisa, Can you highlight here how we see the Zerto solution making an impact on those objectives?
Yeah, it's important to keep in mind that RPOs of seconds have real world implications. It is not just a theoretical exercise because taking your RPO down to seconds can save an enormous amount of money, no matter what industry you're in. Time is money, data is money, and put together, you're talking a very high cost of downtime with legacy solutions. When your RPO and RTO are measured in hours, every single outage ends up costing much more than it has to, $1 to $2 million in these examples. With Zerto, we're enabling customers to radically reduce data loss and downtime by recovering within minutes, at scale, from any point in time. You can rewind and resume operations without having to go to last night's backup or a replicated snapshot that's aging rapidly. You just pick a checkpoint that's just seconds prior to the incident and then roll back within a few minutes to pick up right where you left off. For those of you who might be thinking about using backup snapshots for recovery purposes, there is a difference between backup and disaster recovery, or DR. They're different use cases. If you're restoring using backup snapshots for DR, it can take hours to recover. And since those snapshots are only taken twice a day or so, you can have 8 hours or more of data loss. In this example here, the ability to recover in 10 minutes instead of 8 hours means that you saved your business more than $1.5 million in data loss. And of course, Bob with SharePoint will talk more in depth about their DR as a service solution and how they're able to deliver these low RPOs and RTOs.
So before we get into our DR as a service solutions, let's talk about the difference between business continuity and disaster recovery. Many times these are used interchangeably, but they're really not the same thing. Business continuity is going to be focused on the plan encompassing people, processes, procedures to ensure that the mission critical functions can resume during and after a crisis. Disaster recovery is focused on the IT or the technology systems that support the business functions and how to get them back up and running after a crisis or outage. Key components that must be defined in a successful disaster recovery plan are your RTO and RPO. Essentially, how long can you be down and how much data can you afford to lose? Once defined, these metrics can help guide the type of disaster recovery solution that we should put in place. As shown in the diagram, the RPO is determined when the data is safely at the secondary site. This could be 24 hours if we're talking about tape, or a matter of seconds when we're talking about a technology like Zerto. Once the disaster happens, the first thing a company needs to do is understand what the disaster is and how long they think they may be offline. This will help them determine if they need to activate their business continuity and disaster recovery strategies. Once the decision to declare a disaster has been made, the teams need to get the disaster recovery infrastructure ready. Servers need to be prepared, data needs to be loaded, applications need to be tested. Now, if you're using a DR solution offered by TierPoint, we make this part much simpler. In the implementation process, we work through the application dependencies and ensure each VM is coming up in the right order. We build a comprehensive runbook that lists out all of the details in the environment to ensure that it will come up as expected. When you decide to declare a disaster, you call TierPoint. Our team of DR experts use the technologies that's built into Zerto to recover your environment to one of our cloud-based solutions. We guarantee the recovery of 10 VMs every 15 minutes. Now, that's just the SLA. Your recovery time will much likely be much faster than this. Zerto is application consistent, so the application should come up in the state they were when they failed. So it's really just verifying everything is working as planned. You'll be notified that the environment is up and operational, and at that time, your teams can go in and do their validation testing.
Thanks, Bob. Elisa, we know that cyber recovery has unique components versus a natural or human-driven incident. What are the incremental components that a customer would implement in a true cyber outage? What are those elements for customers to consider?
As Bob explained so eloquently, DR plans focus on getting you up and running quickly and minimizing data loss. A cyber recovery or CR plan, on the other hand, builds upon these objectives. But since CR focuses on malicious intent, it adds 4 more features. The first feature is data immutability. This is important because we know that bad actors are targeting your backups. By making copies immutable, we can ensure that the data you're using for recovery isn't tainted. Second is air gapping, or complete physical and logical isolation from outside networks. Attackers are relentless, and you need to make sure that even if they've breached your production and initial recovery environments, that they cannot penetrate the isolated walls of the vault and therefore cannot reach your vaulted data. Third is an offline recovery environment to perform restoration work. This hardware should be high performance and production grade so your organization can rely on it while recovering lower tier workloads. Fourth is detection, so you can perform forensic analysis efficiently and identify clean points to recover to. This real-time encryption detection is included in Zerto 10. Together, Zerto and TierPoint can guide you on your journey to determine how to bolster your CR or DR measures. A huge benefit of working with partners is that you have experienced professionals helping with recovery by overseeing and validating the automation and orchestration that's provided by Zerto.
Great. So as you just mentioned, Elisa, Zerto recently introduced a new feature within Zerto 10, real-time encryption. Can you take us through how this capability addresses clients' ability to strengthen their cybersecurity posture?
Sure. Detection is specific to cyber attacks, and it's key because it enables swift action. Starting with Zerto 10, you can receive alerts within seconds of detecting encryption anomalies. This can ultimately minimize the blast radius or damage of an attack. And of course, detection is part of a holistic security approach and should integrate with the rest of your security stack. To that end, Zerto detection was designed to be API first and can seamlessly combine with your other solutions. Now I'll hand it back to TierPoint to share how this is being rolled out to clients with a Zerto DR solution and what that looks like.
Thanks, Lisa. SharePoint has integrated this powerful feature into our cloud-based recovery solutions to enhance security and resilience for all of our customers. This feature continuously monitors for abnormal encryption activity on protected workloads and alerts customers if any suspicious behavior is detected. It's being automatically provisioned for all of our Zerto customers, ensuring that every user benefits from this added layer of protection. With this capability, you can identify potential malware or ransomware threats early, and if necessary, roll back to a clean checkpoint, safeguarding your entire environment.
So, Bob, testing is critical to provide that peace of mind so that everything is ready should an incident evolve. Can you paint a picture for us on what the testing includes and what information it provides?
Yeah, testing is probably one of the most critical aspects of a disaster recovery program. First of all, it lets you sleep at night, knowing that if something were to happen, you can be back up and operating quickly. It lets us validate that the runbooks we have are up to date and ensures that any changes in the environment are caught. Many companies require testing for either internal or government compliance. At TierPoint, we include testing with all of our DRAS solutions so that you can provide an attestation to any auditors to show them you have a viable DR solution and that it will meet the guidelines that are specified. Elisa, I know there's other benefits that Zerto provides to our customers outside of the TierPoint testing and reporting. Can you share some detail on that?
Yeah, it's so important to test your DR or CR plan to make sure that your runbook works where the rubber meets the road. But there are additional use cases too. With Zerto, you can test when environments or personnel change, and you can do it with no impact to production. That means you can do it during the workday, not on weekends or after hours. On top of that, one of our customers says that it reduced testing time from 3.5 days to less than 2 hours. And one last thing on testing, it enables you to produce reports that satisfy compliance and cyber insurance requirements. This is really important because it demonstrates to the business that your solution works and that you are a trusted ally in business continuity.
Great. So, Elisa and Bob, can you share some real customer examples of the specific challenges or concerns customers have faced before implementing their disaster recovery solutions? And how did these solutions address those challenges to ensure quick recovery and to maintain business continuity?
Here's a scenario from a customer that I love to share. Tinkata had 2 ransomware experiences. Before Zerto, they were using backup and it took them 2 weeks to recover. But after Zerto, recovery took 10 minutes. Zerto gives them confidence to efficiently rewind, test, and resume business as usual.
And here we have one of TierPoint's disaster recovery customers. Dental Associates came to TierPoint looking for a solution that will provide them a fast recovery in the event of a disaster or ransomware. They needed to ensure that access to the patient's records and x-rays would not be interrupted because of any type of disaster. Fortunately, they have not had any incidents where they have needed to enact their DR strategy, but the quote from their CIO really says it all. The peace of mind we get from having this disaster recovery solution in our back pocket makes all the difference.
Both Zerto and TierPoint offer consultative services and workshops to assist customers in adopting all these principles. Where do most customers typically begin? Let's start with you, with Zerto, Elisa.
Sure, they can reach out to info@zerto.com if you're interested in finding out more about Zerto or the Zerto Cyber Resilience Vault, which is that validated all-in-one cyber vault solution. We can help you to leverage the right tool or work with a partner for a robust approach. Also, we have labs and plenty of testimonials from customers across a wide variety of use cases.
And if you'd like to learn more about TierPoint disaster recovery solutions with Zerto and how we can help enhance your disaster recovery profile, you can visit us on the web at www.tierpoint.com. You'll be able to review our products and services, and you'll be able to chat with one of our solutions advisors. You can also call us at the number listed. When you reach out, one of our DR experts will contact you to discuss your company's business requirements for a disaster recovery solution. They'll discuss the different services that we can offer and share industry trends that we're seeing across TierPoint. They'll also work with you to set up next steps to ensure that we can help you achieve your business goals.
Thanks, Elisa and Bob. And with that, I'll bring it to a close. Thank you all for your time today and for listening in. Please feel free to reach out to us. And for more details on our disaster recovery solution, we have a fact sheet posted within this webinar portal. Thanks again, and have a great day.
Right, everybody, thank you so much. What an incredible presentation. Great way to kick things off today with TierPoint and Zerto. And if you have been asking questions, I've seen a lot of questions coming in. We've got the team here on a live chat. So hopefully you're going to get some great answers there today. And again, we'll also be able to follow up on any of those questions after today's Super Summit. Now, speaking of follow-ups, we've got a poll up again, and this is just asking what additional information you would like about the TierPoint or Zerto solution. So if you're looking for data sheets, white papers, case studies, pricing details, personal demos, you can basically treat this as your wish list, your easy button. This is what you're able to get exactly what you're looking for when you want it. So click on in there and make sure you don't forget to also check out the handouts tab. Now, before I get you too distracted, the team from TierPoint and Zerto were curious about the presentation style. Did you like this style of presentation? A few different speakers coming in, Q&A, walking through. If so, or if you have any feedback, they'd love to hear it also in the questions tab with the live chat. So share it with them. If you say absolutely loved it, great. If you said could be better, that's also great. Give the feedback. If there's certain aspects you liked, let us know. Just curious to see from you what style of presentation and aspects of the presentation are landing for you or not. So again, I invite you to throw that out in the questions tab now. All right. Now with that, again, do check out that handouts tab. So you've got the questions there. We've all been active in the chat. Thank you for being so active and so inquisitive today. This has been really great so far, and I think it's only going to keep going. But we do have a PDF fact sheet there. So there's the TierPoint cloud to cloud recovery, disaster recovery as a service. It's a 2-pager in there. So great overview, definitely something you want to grab and keep a hold of, and you can use that as a way to kind of follow up after today's conversation with the TierPoint Zerto team. Now with that, it is time for our first couple of prizes to give away. So if you are here and you're feeling lucky, as long as you're present and live here at the webinar, you are eligible to win. So very excited. We have got a gift card to give away, as well as the 3 Kindle Scribes. So keep your ears peeled here. First gift card for Amazon, $300, is going out to Sean Reeser from West Virginia. The first Kindle is going out to Ken Christensen from Georgia. The second Kindle going out to Alicia Witten from Colorado. And the third Kindle is going to Kimberly Harper from Michigan. Huge congrats to all of you there. And again, we will be reaching out about your prizes and how you can claim them after today's summit. And again, keep those questions coming in, because there is a $50 best question gift card for each team here presenting today. So you may be lucky even beyond these awesome prizes that we've got going out to you already. All right, with that, let's keep the good times rolling. We have got our next team here waiting in the wings, and our next fantastic team here is Rubrik. Now, if you've been on a couple of our webinars, megacasts, you may recognize Rubrik. We have got Marc Crevier, who is the Senior Product Manager over at Rubrik. He's going to be presenting for us here. And with that, Marc, I'm just going to hand things right over to you. Take it away. All right, let's kick this thing off. Let's make the magic happen.
My name is Marc Crevier. I'm a Senior Product Manager here at Rubrik, and today we're going to talk about some cyber recovery strategies for today's challenges. So let's talk first about the anatomy of an attack. When an attacker gets into your system, they're going to start their dwell time, where they are starting to learn about your environment. They're trying to establish additional backdoors. They're trying to maintain persistence in your system so that they can get the most visibility possible and be set up to do the most damage possible when they do get to that actual target attack. They can be in your system for quite a long time. They're looking for your sensitive data, your critical data, your health information, credit card information, your backups. They're looking to see how you operate and where your critical data is and where it's vulnerable. And it's important to think about the time to recovery not just being when the last byte lands, but rather when operations return to normal. In order to get back there, you need to have intelligence about, is the data that I restored valid? How do I know that I haven't reintroduced those backdoors? What do we need to protect from ransomware and to be able to recover? We need to make sure that there is immutability, that we are not vulnerable to cyber attacks changing data or deleting data. We need to make sure that there's anomaly detection so that we can identify those clean copies, which may not be available in legacy platforms. Legacy platforms may be part of an attack vector. So if we think about those attackers going after backup systems, you need to think about, is your backup system in part of the same attack vector that they're going after, such as inside your virtualization platform. It could take an extremely long time once you determine what your good data looks like to restore in a legacy platform. So knowing that you can automate your cyber recovery becomes extremely important in returning to operations. Knowing where your sensitive data lives. Your attackers are looking for it. It's best to know where it is ahead of time so that you can, in a preemptive way, make sure that it doesn't exist somewhere you didn't intend. Being able to detect that proactively helps you before an attack, but during an attack, it becomes important to understand what's your risk profile. And you need to make sure that you're not going to reinfect the data you're recovering could have those backdoors inside of it. And if you accidentally restore the malware, then you've compromised what was previously your clean environment. Let's talk about how we prepare then. Before an incident, there's a technical and non-technical aspect to the preparation. On the non-technical side, the administrative side, it's important to know who's got what role, right? You've got a response plan, and that's not only how do we let our executives know or let our users know. There could be legal involvement that you need to consider. Maybe that you need to consider alerting the authorities, or if you're a publicly traded or publicly visible company, you may need to notify your PR firm to get ahead of response on this. That's all part of the plan of who's responding, when they're responding, and making sure that strategy is laid out. Equally important, having documentation of how these systems are recovered. Nobody should be in this alone, right? It used to be traditional disaster recovery. There's a nerd for that, right? We've got somebody who's going to be able to take care of our DR. Now every stakeholder really needs to be involved. The people who are ultimately responsible for the data in a given area need to know the cost of downtime and how much they can expect once restoration efforts start to begin. And then with regard to crisis management, understanding that we're human and we can't work 24 hours a day for extended periods of time, and knowing how to do those handoffs and make sure that the people who are focusing on the recovery are able to do so, and the people that are focusing on those external communications are able to do so, and that there's a line of communication between them. From a technical standpoint, you need to know that your backups are recoverable, that you've got that immutability in place. You've got air gaps. With traditional type legacy backup software, you may need to be configuring network access on a timed basis, which it's great when you've got those ports closed, but it does mean that you need that access during backup operations. You need to know where you're recovering to, your isolated recovery environment, or IRE, and it needs to be scaled and optimized for the workloads you're recovering. You may not be recovering your entire environment. You may be focusing on a set of critical apps. It may be that you do need to recover everything, but you need to know that ahead of time and make sure that your infrastructure is optimized for those recovery goals and what's going to be in there. Because if at the last minute you decide you're going to recover everything, but you've scaled it only for critical apps, you're going to have a really hard time getting everything running inside of there. How does Rubrik help? We logically air gap so that there's no attack vector. There's no network access to our storage. With a legacy system, you may be writing over NFS or SMB type protocols over the network, and we've eliminated that from the attack vectors. Encryption at rest and in flight is kind of table stakes these days. Of course, we've got that, and we maintain encryption during backups and while it's being stored. And then immutability by design. Our file system was designed to be append only, and access control at every level. So not only making sure that your help desk has appropriate level for the help desk, but knowing that it's zero trust and that every action is authenticated is important as well. You can be confident with retention lock. With multiple approvals needed, no one person can turn back the clock on that retention to expire the backups before they've originally been specified. We now call this quorum authentication as well, because you can have multiple approvers. If all else fails, we've got intelligent data lock. It's a smart recycle bin that behind the scenes, so that when we see anomalous deletion behavior, we save it anyway. This is not a feature that users have access to. It's intentionally held back for Rubrik support. In a worst case scenario, that data is still recoverable. Let's talk about knowing what's going on in your environment during an attack. Rubrik has anomaly detection. Every backup, we look and see, is there anomalous behavior inside of there? Has an encryption event occurred? And we have two-phase analysis to make sure that we're reducing false positives on this. And what we can do is determine what that blast radius is. Again, think about those attackers going after your systems. If your attack vector is your virtualization system, it's entirely possible that if your monitoring system is part of that vector, it's not available. So some of the normal tools you might be used to might not be there. Also becomes important is taking those plans we made before, those communication plans, the documentation on how to recover these things, and storing that out of band, right? So if that's stored on a file server that got encrypted, it's not going to be of much use to you in a ransomware event. You need to have access to it outside of the possible attack vectors. Once we've identified the blast radius, whether that's a set of entire virtual machines, or if it's inside of servers, we can tell you down to the file level what that radius is. We can correlate that with our sensitive data discovery. Coming back to that thought of involving PR, if you can very early in the process know if your sensitive data correlates with that blast radius, because we already know where the sensitive data is, now we know what the blast radius is, we can help you determine very early in the process what your risk exposure looks like with regard to overlap between sensitive data and compromised data. So while the attackers are in your system, they leave behind something called an indicator of compromise, or IOC. These are patterns of maybe files, executables, usernames that are identifiable based on a certain type of attack. And those are described in what's called a YARA rule. That's yet another recursive acronym, which is a silly name for a serious and important thing. Using these YARA rules, Rubrik can conduct threat hunting inside of our platform based on that time series data. This becomes very important for a couple of reasons. One, after detonation, we can look and tell, not only do we know the blast radius because of our anomaly detection, we can look for these indicators of compromise, which typically don't exist on all the servers that got encrypted, right? We have central points of administration that we use to then scale out. Most attacks happen in that same way, where not every machine that got encrypted necessarily has those indicators of compromise on it. So these YARA rules with Rubrik threat hunting can be applied on the time series data of backups to tell you where they exist in your system, when they first showed up. So now we can identify, going back to the previous, restore point, we know where the good data is. With threat hunting, now we know what not to restore. And wouldn't it be cool if we could take that one step further and automate it, before an attack? With threat monitoring, we take a curated feed of those YARA rules. We apply it to every backup. So we scan using that curated feed includes the most prevalent or newest threats that have been identified and looks through that time series data for them. Even cooler, we kind of have a time machine built in, because as a new YARA rule, a new maybe 0-day threat becomes cataloged and added to that threat feed, we're able to scan the last X number of days of backups to tell, were you impacted by this 0-day even a day or two before the definitions became available in those YARA rules. In an attack, during that dwell time, they're learning about your environment. They're also watching what's going on. One of the risks of traditional security tools, if you start kicking off scans, right? You got endpoint detection. It's possible that the attackers are going to see that. And if they do, they're going to do as much damage as possible, as quickly as possible, to maintain their control over your environment and be able to extract that ransom they're looking for. By doing this in Rubrik, you're able to do it out of band, outside of your production environment. So you can do some of this forensic type activity without alerting your attackers that it's going on in your production environment. So we've done a good job of identifying where your sensitive data is and what the blast radius of an attack was, and is there correlation there, so you understand your risk exposure. We've identified where the malware is, so we make sure that we don't want to restore that. Well, how do we go about making sure we don't restore that? When we detect one of those IOCs in threat hunting or threat monitoring, we mark it as malicious and make sure it gets quarantined so that it doesn't inadvertently get restored into that clean room or IRE environment. We do make it available. So in quarantine, you may need to be able to access it to do forensics on it or additional investigations. But what we're really trying to do is to make sure that we don't restore malicious code back into your restore environment. So how do we get back to production? With Rubrik, it's all part of a unified workflow, right? From our anomaly detection, you're able to see that correlation of sensitive data. You're able to launch threat hunts. You're able to launch your recoveries from the same place using all of that intelligence that we've built into our security platform. Because you can identify the clean recovery points and you know what data to restore from the last known good and you know what not to restore, we can launch all of that right from Rubrik Security Cloud and deploy that into your clean room environment. If you need to use that environment for some forensics investigations, if you're using it as a staging area for proofing, we can use our live mount technology to get that in there. You can use this to simulate attacks. And we talked a little bit about automating your recovery. You can plan ahead of time, and you should plan ahead of time for, an application-centric approach to recovery, where with Rubrik, we have cyber recovery plans that you can set up with on an application by application basis so that this is the order and every server that we need to be restored as part of a given application. You can schedule those recoveries for testing purposes. And what that gives you is a nice report showing all of the recent attempts and successes. And so now one, that you can recover, two, that you can consistently recover, three, how long it takes. And all of this goes into a report that you can hand to your boss or to your auditor to show that you're regularly testing that. And if you see some change in that behavior, where a restore all of a sudden has something that fails or the timing on it changes, now you know that you've got something to look at. Every recovery method is going to be applicable to different situations, right? With Rubrik, if you just need to recover files, we can do that. If you need to live mount and use Rubrik as the storage to attach to your IRE compute environment, or just you want to send only back the data that's changed in a given server. This is something that each organization has to take a measured and tailored approach to figure out. But for whatever your needs, Rubrik has a recovery method that's going to match those needs. So I mentioned earlier, nobody's alone. We have the Rubrik ransomware response team. We've got our award-winning 24/7 customer support. We've got dedicated people on these teams who are aware of the urgency and the requirements for ownership of these cases and confidentiality. You can see on the slide here, we've done over 200 of these assisted recoveries, and it's not anything you've seen in the news or heard about from us, because we understand the confidentiality needs of that. And this is something that's available to everybody with a valid support contract. So with that, I invite you to explore our guided labs at rubrik.com/explore, or participate in one of our simulated ransomware attacks at one of our Save the Data events. Sign up for one of those. They're a lot of fun, and it'll stick with you as you think about your planning. Thank you very much. I hope this has been educational, and you have a great rest of the day.
Awesome, Mark. Thank you so much. That was great. Again, lots of questions, great energy. Mark's not going to have time to stick around for live Q&A here today, but he might be able to access some of your live chat responses down there in the questions. Now, again, do not fret if you've asked some great questions today and we don't get them all answered. We'll definitely have the teams following up within the next couple of days and making sure you get all the information that you need and require to keep on top of all things data protection and disaster recovery. Now, that said, I do have another poll up here. So same as before, but pertaining to Rubrik, what additional information would you like about the Rubrik solution? If you're looking for data sheets, white papers, case studies, pricing, demos, or if perhaps you're already a customer, throw that in there and just let us know. Again, this is your kind of easy button. You're getting exactly what you're looking for by responding to the poll if you're looking for something or nothing at all at this time. All right, with that, let's keep some fun things moving along. If you haven't already checked out the handouts tab yet, I'm going to keep reminding you here, but in terms of what Rubrik has locked and loaded in there for you, they've got a solution brief. It is the Rubrik Cyber Recovery. So essentially showing you how you can improve cyber readiness and incident response by creating, testing, and validating recovery plans. So definitely go check that out. Worth holding on to so that you've got it for after today's summit. Now it is time to give away another prize. This is not a grand prize. This is the $300 gift card, but still a pretty exceptional prize if I do say so myself. You do need to be live and present here at the webinar to win. But otherwise, let's give this away. This next one is going to Saeed Al-Kuza from California. Huge congrats, Saeed. And we'll be reaching out after the summit today to let you know how you can claim that prize. All right. Well, let's keep things zipping along here today. We've got a bunch of teams here still ready to rock. So I'm excited to introduce you to Aaron Brown, who is software and development engineer over at Recovery Point and Veeam, as well as Jeff Judy, disaster recovery chief cloud architect. We're going to have a little bit of a presentation here, followed by a live demo as well, so you can get a sense of what is under the hood and look at the platform. So, all right, I think, Jeff, you're going to take the lead on this. I'm going to hand this over to you. Take it away.
Okay, thank you. Today we're presenting on crafting and implementing a data protection strategy and disaster recovery plan. As we were introduced, I'm Jeff Judy, and this is Aaron Brown. Hello, Aaron. How you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you, Jeff?
Doing well, thanks.
Good.
Today we were talking about a topic that we deal with every day. When disaster strikes, are you prepared? I know this explosion is a bit extreme. Hopefully it's not that kind of scenario, but really what we're talking about today is more around 99% of the attacks today are out there are cyber events, ransomware attacks. We say it's not really if, it's not when, but more so today, it's how often are you going to be attacked. And it is safe to say that cyber attacks are the number one disaster event happening out there. When we talk about that with clients, a lot of times it's not really recognized what the impact is to your company. So these 4 things that we list here in this slide are things that you need to consider outside of just all my systems are encrypted, I need to recover. There's long-term lasting effects that can damage your company, like your insurance premiums will go up. Your brand will most likely be damaged, if sensitive data is leaked. The trust relationship is lost. Certainly productivity is lost, and employee burnout as well. Longer term, you may have, without being prepared for an attack, you will spend many hours, many nights and days, long periods of time trying to recover your business. And employees will see that things weren't handled properly and will walk away. Also, there's loss of job security. Quick spotlight on us. We're Recovery Point Systems. We are a disaster recovery service provider, and our mission is to deliver exceptional recovery services, and we strive to ensure our clients are protected and able to recover from any disaster. We like to turn challenges of recovery into opportunities for growth and ensure that your business not only survives but thrives in the face of adversity. We do own and operate our own data centers, Tier 3 Uptime Institute certified, and we support a wide range of technology including IBM mainframe, AIX, PowerI, and physical and virtual x86, including hybrid cloud solutions. Our approach is listed in this slide where we like to approach clients with a blended solution. It's usually not one size fits all, and most of your systems are a portion of your systems may be extremely critical to your business, and then you may have another set of systems that are not as critical to your business but would need to be recovered, and then maybe you have a dev and QA set that can take much longer to recover. So this slide here kind of shows you what you can expect when you're trying to build the right disaster recovery plan and put the technologies in place. And it helps you kind of see, just from a dollar sign perspective, what you might be spending to achieve that optimal recovery time and recovery point objective. But then once you have those things in place, you need to ensure recoverability. How do you get there? We give you the top three steps to build the recovery plan. Number one is you must have backups, and certainly air-gapped. In today's world, a cyber attack, they target your backups first before they actually launch the attack. They make sure that you are crippled and cannot recover, and so you are forced to pay the ransom. So if you have an immutable backup set, preferably off-site, you can store that at the recovery point facilities. That ensures that you have that last line of defense to be able to recover from. Second step here would be having some type of runbook automation, reporting preparedness, certainly inventory management, and a BCDR plan. You must have a plan in place, and you must test that plan. It's been said before, a plan that has not been exercised has no muscle, has no strength. And it's true. Clients that they may have a plan, but it's old, the books are dusty, you haven't touched it in 12 months or 24 months. It's not going to work. It will not work for you when you are hit with that cyber attack. And then certainly number 3 would be having a place to recover into. That's what Recovery Point Systems provides to you. We have clean room capabilities, automated recovery solutions, and we're going to test and validate that things work, that you can recover from those immutable backups. Another area to focus on is risk mitigation. How do you mitigate, that the risk that's inherently comes with having a disaster recovery plan, multiple teams, and yet having the time to be able to validate that you can recover. Most clients run a test every 12 months, or at least I hope they do. The clients that we work with are running 12 months, some are running every 6 months. But how do you really get to a true recovery time objective and a really true recovery point objective that you're looking to meet for your company? You have to increase that frequency of testing. And there's really no way to do that other than either having more people to run the testing or apply automation to those DR test cycles. Because the more frequently you test those recovery plans, you reduce the gap between times of changes and drift management in your tests and your DR approach. We offer 6 steps through this racetrack plan for cyber resiliency. And number 1 is, of course, BCDR planning, incident response planning, and inventory management. It's key to know what systems you have plugged into your network, where those data sets live, because when a cyber attack happens, the ransomware is going to come and they're going to say, I want $10 million, or I'm going to release all your sensitive data, and you're not going to get the encryption key back. If you know where all your assets live, where that sensitive data is, you may be able to negotiate and be like, I know that they didn't actually get a hold of my most critical information, or I know that I can recover this and I do not need to pay them that amount of money. So it gives you a negotiation chip. Recovery Point Systems, we offer a suite of solutions for ransomware recovery. These things here really encompass a comprehensive package that allows you to secure yourself from a ransomware attack. I mentioned it earlier, but immutable backups are key. You must have a partner that's able to help you recover. So you need an incident response vendor, and you should have somebody like that lined up well before a cyber event occurs. A lot of this is really in the preparation. The preparation would be key to being able to recover. Having a ransomware gap assessment is a good starting place to understand where you are in your recovery solution. Do you have some things like a endpoint detection installed on your on all of your servers? And then, of course, this is mantra for Recovery Point. It's a 3-2-1-1-0 rule. That's having these immutable backups. Keep 3 copies of your data. Keep 2 different media sets. Keep those copied onto 2 different media sets, and certainly keep 1 off-site. That prevents just the typical electrical fire or flood from taking out your backup solution. And then keep 1 copy air-gapped, as I said earlier. That air-gapping can be immutable, it can be tape, but keep it outside of the realm of somebody being able to get access to it and delete it, so that you have that last line of defense. And then the 0 is test. Make sure that you can actually recover from those backups. Recovery Point Solutions, we offer a fully managed recovery service called Managed Resiliency. And with Managed Resiliency, it covers everything from just basic system level recovery all the way to your applications. And we're going to run through those testing cycles with automation to make sure that you truly are recoverable. These are the top key features. Aaron, maybe you want to take us through these, and then we'll switch over to you for a demo.
Sure. So just kind of starting from the top here, automation and orchestration. So a big part of being able to meet your recovery time objectives and being able to bring your systems back online quickly is having some kind of scripting automation in place and orchestration to bring systems online in an automated fashion and in the correct order. Advanced dashboard visibility into DR preparedness. This is, a kind of a factor of that. continuous testing. You want to make sure that you have visibility into how effective your plan is so that you can adjust it, because we all know IT is a moving target. Things are going to change, and as you test, you need to be able to capture and evaluate what has changed to make sure that you are prepared when the real thing happens. Health monitoring and drift management, kind of going along those same lines. Drift management in particular, we talk about to at great lengths. That's things change inside your environment. Devices go end of life, applications go end of life, they get replaced by newer and better things. And the plan that you initially formulate is not going to cover those if you haven't updated it to include those things. So you want to make sure that you are capturing any drift that occurs in your environment, any changes with those regular tests. And same thing with health monitoring. You want to make sure that when you do bring things back online, especially in cyber events like Jeff was talking about, you want to make sure that you have clean copies, that you can bring those online. They can talk to each other in the ways that they need to be able to. Testing and compliance reporting is obviously a big factor in disaster recovery in total. Being able to evaluate your position in terms of regulatory compliances and things like that, and having reports to support that is very important. So that's definitely a feature of a lot of what we do. And cloud recovery. There are a lot of diverse environments that we deal with where there is a lot of different types of equipment on-prem, but not only that, a lot of our clients have cloud workloads as well in Azure, AWS, GCP, what have you, and being able to ensure that those are protected, kind of alongside all of your on-prem workloads is kind of vital to having an effective recovery plan as well.
Thanks, Aaron. We got a few minutes left, so let's take them through a demo. I'm going to stop sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is what our recovery console looks like, our resiliency console tool. This is sort of our tool that we provide to our clients to be able to build, maintain an effective plan, as well as monitor the execution of that plan during test events or during a true declaration if a real disaster is to occur. So in here, you can kind of formulate your plan in terms of an oft overlooked aspect, which is dependencies. You've got applications and devices that kind of depend on each other. There's a lot of different interdependencies that aren't always encapsulated or captured as part of an impact analysis. So these are things that you really have to kind of suss out in your environment and figure out where you've got items that depend on each other and how those affect each other. So for example, you may have a device that has a dependency on several different applications or groups of applications or groups of servers. You want to make sure that that's all captured and documented as part of your plan so that you know, hey, if we're not able to recover Active Directory, there's probably a lot of things that we're not going to be able to recover, right? But being able to kind of break that down and have that entire dependency chain captured. Not only does that tell you how you're going to be able to recover or not recover in the event of certain things being compromised, but also that gives you a better means of meeting your recovery time objectives as well. I can't count the number of times that I've seen recoveries where there's a device that we power on 100 VMs, and then all of a sudden it turns out we have to reboot those 100 VMs because Active Directory was not online at the time that they started up. So they're not going to be getting their time set correctly. They're not going to be able to authenticate against a domain. So there's tons of examples of this. Applications that have dependencies on databases. You want to make sure that the databases are available before you bring the application up. All sorts of situations like that all needs to be kind of captured and documented as part of your plan. This tool also, during execution of an event, whether it's a test. Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
The visual here for the dependency map is really nice, because like in the middle of a cyber event, when you're trying to do the recoveries, like understanding where you are in the recovery process is really critical. You want to make sure that once you've restored a system that it's ready to be put back into production. You want to put a system that's still infected back into production because you just re-encrypt everything. So understanding the dependency and where you are in that recovery plan is really nice.
Yep. Yeah, so then whenever you're exercising and executing on your plan during a test, you also, it's pretty important to understand the individual steps involved in recovery for your devices and applications, and being able to kind of track those, not only the status of where are you at overall in executing your plan, but also the timing around it. When did you start doing a recovery? When did you finish doing a recovery? Being able to track those things, especially during testing, helps you really fine tune your plan, because you can look back at that and say, okay, well, we've got this step, but this isn't very granular. This took us 4 hours to execute. What's really, what's stopping us from meeting our objectives here? Being able to break that out just inside your plan into individual steps and tracking those and trending it over time, so that you can see, okay, well, when we did our spring test, this took us 6 hours, but now it's taken us 5, so we know we're moving in the right direction. We've improved our plan by that amount. It's very important to be able to track those things during testing. So in addition to knowing kind of what all needs to be recovered and the dependencies between things, there's just, in general, you want to really understand the relationship all the way down to the infrastructure level between your applications and their requirements. So that whenever you are executing a recovery, again, whether it's an exercise or a true declaration, you can kind of get your ordering correct. That again helps you meet your time objectives. So as an example of that, like we can see here that there is an app 5 in this example scenario that runs on top of server 6. So we know before, whatever app 5 is, we know before we can start recovering that, we have to make sure that that the underlying device for that, whether that's a VM or a physical machine or whatever the case may be, we have to make sure that that's online, that it's responding on the network, so that we're actually able to make sure that this application is recovered the correct way. So it's not just kind of the interdependencies between applications, but really breaking down to kind of the individual infrastructure and device level, what needs what and how things work together, and all of that kind of thing really just needs to be encapsulated in your recovery plan overall. So, again, kind of coming back to what we were talking about in terms of regulatory compliance and being able to report effectively on how your tests are going and how complete your plan is and all that kind of thing. You really need to be able to get output from this. A tool like this is vital to generating those reports that you need to provide kind of upstream to prove out your regulatory compliances and things like that. So again, just the importance of having a tool like this to not only roll up what your plan actually is and how it is to be executed, but also when you test it out, being able to track how it actually runs is just very important across the entire spectrum of requirements that you have for recovery.
Thanks, Aaron. So I want to leave you with this last slide here for the transition for the resiliency plan. Basically, a fully developed and tested response plan, it helps to mitigate damage. It's going to save your company money. It's going to also empower your security experts to make the decisions on which systems to recover and how to really approach the response to a cyber attack. And it's going to reduce the damage in the long run to your company. So thank you for your time today. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Recovery Point Systems. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm sure you have some people reaching on over and saying hello. We've got a ton of questions here live today, but you might also get some additional follow-ups from the audience there. Now, if you are out there and you are looking for some additional information on Recovery Point and Veeam, again, we've got a poll up here. So anything you're looking for, again, demos, data sheets, pricing details, feel free to answer the poll and request what you're looking for from the team today. Now, if you, again, didn't get all your questions answered, there's just a lot of questions and only so much manpower and only so much time on the summit today. But again, keep those coming in. There are those $50 best question gift cards. But not only that, I know you're genuinely curious, looking for information about these awesome teams and their products, their services. So, of course, they'll be following up and making sure you get everything you need. Now, again, I have mentioned the handouts tab a couple of times, but Once again, this is the time to check it out. If you are curious and you enjoyed hearing from Recovery Point, there is a link to an overview of ransomware recovery as a service. So if you like that, you're also able to schedule a ransomware readiness discovery session through that same link. So check out the page, bookmark it, and save it for later. All right, so we are going to keep things going and keep the excitement here. We have got another grand prize to give away. So if any of you are looking to get a new iPhone, depending, what iPhone you've got, or if you're on a Samsung or whatever, this could be an upgrade. This could be a parallel move. Maybe you shoot some home video and you want a second iPhone for like a top-down shot. I don't know what you're going to do with this, but hopefully you're excited to win it because we have got it to give away. Now, to keep you a little bit, with a pregnant pause, as they say in theater, I'm going to first give out our $300 Amazon gift card, and then I'll be giving out this iPhone 15 Pro. So without further ado, the Amazon gift card next up is going to Jason Sakaris from Pennsylvania. And the iPhone 15 Pro is going out to Ray Brogan from Virginia. Huge congrats, Jason and Ray. Again, we'll be reaching out after today's webinar to let you know how you can claim those prizes. And with that, we've got our fourth and final segment here in the queue about to kick off. So we are going to be wrapping things up in style with the team from Wasabi. We have got Rob Callaghan. He is the Senior Product Marketing Manager over at Wasabi. And not only that, but my fellow moderator, Scott Becker, is going to hop on for a little bit of Q&A. So keep those coming. Scott's going to join in at the end and kind of put a voice to the best questions he's rounding up over the next 10 minutes of this presentation with Rob. So Rob, the floor is yours.
Thank you for having me. Today, we're going to talk about storage as security, your ransomware recovery lifeline. Or as I like to say at Wasabi, storage is security. Cyber incidents are no longer a question of if, but when, and your ability to recover quickly and without paying a ransom is crucial. And to do that, Wasabi partners with key industry leaders like Veeam, Dell, Veritas, Commvault, Rubrik, Cohesity, and Acronis to protect your critical data. As you can see in this graphic here, they're all feeding data into us, and they're protecting your environment. And these are the companies that you have relied on and trust to make sure that they are backing up your data. But these partnerships are critical because it ensures that when you partner with Wasabi, that your data is both protected, immutable, and just as important, cost-effectively accessible. And in this graphic, you can see our key security features that ensure your data is available. Encryption, both at rest and in transit, multi-factor authentication to prove multiple ways that you actually who you say you are, object lock to protect your data with immutability so that someone can't delete it, change it, or encrypt it. And finally, something unique to Wasabi. It's called multi-user authentication. It's our new multiple people with the key kind of thing where you can designate up to 3 different security contacts in addition to yourself that have to approve any kind of account deletion or bucket deletion. And why that's important is because cyber criminals are now getting more sophisticated. If they can't delete your data because it is immutable, they're going to go after your account. And if they go after your account and delete that, everything that was stored in it is gone. So the bottom line is our layered defense combined with our trusted backup solution partners offer cost-effective and secure data storage. This approach both minimizes business disruption and eliminates the need to pay ransoms during cyber incidents. On this next slide, though, I wanted to highlight and talk about NIST. It is the gold standard of cybersecurity. As I like to say with these, is there's multiple elements in a cybersecurity structure, a secure one, and it's shown on this slide here. First one is identify. You have to understand your data, including the sensitive and critical data and where it's at and who's responsible for it. You need to be able to detect, using security controls, what's happening to your environment and your data. You need to be able to protect it and lock down sensitive data. You need to be able to respond if there is an attacker or a vulnerability to be able to get rid of the attacker or close the vulnerability. But what I really want to talk about was the final bottom one, which is recover. The ability to rebuild an uncompromised version. That means one that is not compromised, no malware, no worms, other things in it, so that you can recover. We like to say that mastering recovery is the cornerstone of a NIST cybersecurity framework. And this matters because it allows you to rebuild an uncompromised version of your data, application, and infrastructure. It allows you to ensure that you have a clean, malware-free recovery, and that you maintain data integrity in the process. What you stored when you backed it up is what you recover when you pull it back. And we're there to help you as being the secure storage point in the cloud. And we partner with best-in-class backup providers to do that. And we don't hold your data for ransom. That is, we don't charge you egress fees, API call fees, things that may cause you to hesitate in either both testing or backing up more data. And the critical factors in this effective recovery are speed. How fast can you bring it back? Cost effectiveness. Can you afford to bring it back? And reliability. When you want to bring it back, is it there and is it working? So the bottom line is, without a robust, rapid, and affordable recovery capabilities, your company risks business disruption, reputational damage, and financial losses. Now, shifting to storage, we look at it as the bedrock of a secure IT architecture. And we're shifting in how we view storage in cybersecurity. It's not just a passive element. It's the cornerstone of your defense strategy. In traditional approaches, storage was typically an afterthought. In the modern approaches, storage is a critical protector of your business assets. Your storage strategy can make or break your cyber incident recovery. Secure, cost-effective cloud storage provides immutable backup, where you have clean, unalterable copies of your data, rapid recovery, where you can minimize downtime and business disruption, and cost-effective solutions, making comprehensive protection feasible. And with Wasabi, we've positioned our storage solution at the heart of the modern storage security architecture. This means you'll have stronger defense against ransomware and other cyber threats. You'll have the confidence in your ability to recover quickly and completely. And you'll have protection of your most valuable asset, your data. As I like to say, it all starts with cyber resilience. Your company, to survive, needs to have a cyber resilience strategy and posture. It is your key to a long-term company success. And to do that, you have to have a defense in depth, and a defense in depth with Wasabi. Defense in depth is sort of a layered security for unbreakable data protection. It's not just a strategy, it's a necessity in today's threat landscape. In this graphic, you can see that came from Michael Polson on LinkedIn. He's done a great job of layering all the different things that you need to think about. But I like to look at the very bottom middle where he has data backup as the foundation that everything is built upon. It is the foundation of a robust cybersecurity environment. And then the model that everybody uses, the 3-2-1, and I'll add another 1 to it, is 3 copies of your data, 2 different media types, a copy in the cloud, and a copy immutable. And cloud storage matters because it provides physical security. It provides the ability to have cloud storage, eliminating the need for on-premises vulnerabilities, people accessing it. For data in transit, it has encryption during cloud transfers. It has immutability, so that it prevents unauthorized changes. And it has count protection with the multi-layered access controls that we talked about earlier. And our unique edge is the multi-user authentication for ironclad account security. It starts with secure cloud storage. And it partners with leading backup solutions supporting S3 object lock, and then adding that extra layer of account protection as the final safeguard. And again, the best practices is maintaining those 3 copies of your data, storing that 1 copy in the cloud, making that cloud copy immutable. And the thing I like to really highlight is test, test, test. The partners that are shown on here utilize their DR recovery services, their restore services to test it, to make sure that it is working, that you are backing up, that what you think you're backing up, that the backup is available, the data is good, and doing that before you have an incident so you're not surprised. And here, I'd like to talk about that why Wasabi is a game changer in data security. First, we partnered with industry-leading backup providers to create a state-of-the-art, cyber-resilient ecosystem. It isn't just about storage, it's about building an adaptive defense that evolves with emerging threats. Second, we're flipping the script on how you view backup. It's not an afterthought or a safety net. In today's threat landscape, backup is your frontline defense. It's a foundation of proactive data security and unwavering resilience. And lastly, we understand your data is your most valuable asset. That's why we've designed a multi-layered defense system. When you combine Wasabi's secure cloud storage with top-tier backup solutions, you're not just protecting your data, you're fortifying your entire digital infrastructure. In short, we're not just helping you respond to threats, we're helping you stay steps ahead of them. And as you can see, this is the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And for those who don't know, Gartner is an analyst organization, and they will rate different things, different aspects of companies. In this case, they're doing this on backup applications. And this is from July of 2023. But you can see they look at both the ability of a company to execute and the completeness of that company's vision. And we partner with all of the key vendors in the upper right-hand quadrant and most of the other ones. That means that we have integrated our solution into theirs. When you deploy their solution, you have the ability to check that box to say, I want to store a copy in the Wasabi cloud. And in many cases, you can say, I want to make it immutable, so that when you do pull it back, that in fact, it is exactly the way you stored it up there. And with Wasabi's cost effectiveness, you can store more copies of data for longer because we're finding that the bad actors are in your system a lot longer than you expect. And you may have to go back 6 weeks, 10 weeks, months to find a known good copy that does not have the bad data, the malware embedded in it. So by partnering with these companies, we in fact are able to protect your data, protect your environment, as well as provide the ability to cost effectively restore, test, and if you have basically a DR scenario, not break the bank recovering from it. Wasabi has many storage regions, which is really great because you can do a number of things with these storage regions. We have them all over the world. You can pick the storage region that is closest to you. You can replicate to another storage region for added protection, and we're continuing to grow. You can see within the US, Europe, within Southeast Asia, ASEAN, we have multiple locations and we continue to grow. Coming soon, we're going to have another one in London and a couple of the ones in what we call GovCloud that'll be in the US region. But we just opened up our Milan data center. So you have lots of ways to both meet your requirements for keeping data in your region, as well as having the ability to have multiple copies stored should one not be accessible. And finally, I want to leave you with this. Wasabi has done a lot of work where we have basically talked to 1,200 independent IT decision makers to respond to a survey. And we call it the Wasabi Global Cloud Storage Index. It provides many unique trends and insights into the cloud storage market. It is independent. It is a trusted research methodology, and it's going to give you a lot of answers to what others in this industry are facing, how they've dealt with it, what challenges they're looking forward to putting behind them because of technology, but which ones are keeping them up at night. And you can see what your peers are doing, and basically you can adjust your own posture to address that. And with that, we're going to go to questions.
Yeah, great. Really interesting stuff, Rob. We've got a few questions here. First one, they noticed you mentioned the 3-2-1-1 model for data backup. So they're wondering, how does Wasabi's cloud storage specifically address each of these elements, and what advantages does this offer over traditional on-premises storage?
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges with storing your data is making sure that it's going to be available should you have an outage. That outage could be a issue with the environment you're in. It could be because of a cyber attack. It could be lots of different reasons. And having that ability to have those multiple copies is sure that when you want to pull them back, you can find a known good. But you want to have them on two different media types. Typically, you'll have one on-prem, but you want to have one on a different environment in the cloud, for example, so that if one of them becomes compromised, you can go to your other one. And the great thing about the cloud is you don't have to worry about physical security because someone's not going to our data center to get it. And then having it immutable means that you've used the backup providers we talked about to create an immutable copy where you make it where it cannot be changed, deleted, or encrypted for a period of time. That way that if you do need to pull it back, you can be assured that in fact it has not been changed. And Wasabi has that support for S3 Object Lock to do that.
Okay, excellent. Hey, this next one's about MFA. They're asking, can you elaborate on how Wasabi's multi-user authentication differs from standard MFA and how it provides an extra layer of protection against account-level attacks?
Yeah. So the purpose of MFA was to show through multiple methods that you are who you said you are. It could be as simple as you get a text on your phone that you put a code in. It can be more sophisticated like we use here, Okta, where you have a sign in, and it can be RSA too, where you sign in and validate who you are, and it gives you an ever-changing code that you have to put in at that time to prove that, in fact, the login and password you have belong to you and that you are authenticating. But we've also found that if someone compromises, for example, a storage admin's account and is able to inject some kind of a cyber attack into that, it's easy to find out that, okay, this company has a cloud storage account. I'm going to go and just delete the account because it's immutable. I can't delete the files, but I'll delete the account. And since I've already compromised their credentials, it's an easy lift. So by implementing the MUA, the multi-user authentication, we've given you the ability to select other people in your organization. And we highly recommend those people be, let's say, someone in finance, someone in legal, someone in the CFO's office or the CEO's office that have to approve destructive actions. And those destructive actions are typically things like deleting an account or deleting a bucket that you wouldn't traditionally do because you want to keep that data. And by making those extra steps where they all have to agree to have that action happen, it further protects you from a cyber criminal.
Very nice. Okay. Hey, last question here. We're currently using Veeam. How seamlessly can we integrate Wasabi's immutable storage with our existing backup solution, and what specific benefits would we see in our ransomware recovery capabilities?
Great question. So Veeam has the ability within their environment to make your copies of your backup immutable. So you can set that retention time of how long they're immutable, and they seamlessly fit in with our ability to support it. So with doing that, you can, within Veeam, store your backups, make them immutable for 3, 6 months, whatever amount of time, and do it so that you don't even have to think about it. But they also have another feature I wanted to highlight. We talked about MUA. They have their own feature called 4eyes, which is an ability for them to designate a second security contact that for any kind of destructive actions, let's say like stopping backups, delaying backups, deleting backups, that someone would do in addition to try to deleting your cloud account. So the partnership of Veeam with their 4eyes feature and Wasabi with MUA provides even a higher level of security to protect your environment, your backups, and your business.
Awesome. Well, Rob, unfortunately, that's about all the time we have. If somebody wants to get started with Wasabi and find out more, what would you recommend they do?
On the screen, you see the QR code. You can download the storage index. You can also go to that same link and get into Wasabi and get a free trial. 30 days of 1 terabyte, no credit card needed. So you can start testing it out for yourself at no risk.
Outstanding. Well, Rob, thanks so much for coming on and bringing us up to speed on Wasabi. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome, Scott, Rob, thank you so much for that. Great to have a little time for Q&A with that, and really cool to see how Wasabi and say like Veeam and some other overlaps are going on within the space. I'm sure you guys have noticed this where, many teams are co-presenting and there's a lot of integration. And so you really can, find a solution that works for you, that's scalable, that covers all your weak points and make something that makes a lot of sense for your organization. All right. Well, we are getting near the end here today. Again, we've got a final poll up. So if you're looking for a little bit of information about Wasabi and their solution, this is your final poll to request some awesome follow-up materials or follow-up actions. If you're looking for demos, if you're looking for pricing, if you want to review some of their credentials, data sheets, white papers, you want to get some case studies, it is all there. It's also encouraging to see how many people are also already customers of some of these. So, you're familiar with some of what's out here and maybe looking to go deeper. Really cool. That said, again, this is going to be my last call to action to head over to the handouts tab and check out what is in there from each of the teams. So if you haven't made that journey quite yet, I suggest you do, because we are going to be wrapping up things here shortly with our final grand prize giveaway. So the last handout in there from Wasabi is a PDF. It's actually the whole slide deck that you just saw. You've got that in there. So the QR for the 2024 Wasabi Global Cloud Storage Index is in there if you want to grab it and you missed it during the presentation. And there's also a data sheet on Wasabi hot storage. So again, great resource. Now I'm just hungry. I'm craving sushi. So thanks a lot, Wasabi. All right, so next thing I've got are our prizes. Now, again, thank you for being so patient, for having the wherewithal to wait for this big prize, and I'm wishing you all luck out there. Now, again, I've got one more gift card to give away from Amazon, so I'm going to do that, and then we're going to give away this iMac. So $300 Amazon gift card is going out to Shannon Groth from Oklahoma. Huge congrats to you, Shannon. And the final grand prize, the M3 chip iMac, is going out to Chirag Patel from Virginia. Chirag, huge congrats to you too. And if you did step away at any moment or you just missed it, I'm going to recap all of our winners here today just to make sure you know that you won. So gift cards have gone out to Sean Reeser from West Virginia, to Saeed Alcuza from California, to Jason Sikaris from Pennsylvania, and to Shannon Groth from Oklahoma. Our 3 Kindles went out to Ken Christensen from Georgia, Alicia Witten from Colorado, and to Kimberly Harper from Michigan. Our iPhone 15 Pro went out to Ray Brogan from Virginia, and the iMac, the grand prize, went out to Chirag Patel from Virginia. Now, if you are on today's event and you're curious about sponsoring a megacast, ecocast, or a summit like this, well, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. You can reach out to start the conversation at connect@actualtechmedia.com. And with that, I would love to thank you all on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team for tuning in today. I want to thank our speakers from TierPoint, Zerto, Rubrik, Recovery Point, Veeam, and Wasabi for making this super summit possible. And again, a huge thank you for attending, taking the time. This has been such a valuable conversation, and I know that crafting and implementing a data protection strategy and disaster recovery plan, well, it's exciting, but it can also be stressful. You have to invest the time and resources for events you hope will never happen. And so with that said, with a good plan in place, even your worst day can instead be a not so bad day. So we've definitely heard some great case studies or cases where people said, I actually wasn't that worried. And it's because some of these tools were ready, they were tested, everyone knew how to respond, and they responded quickly. And, it was kind of a blip versus a crippling day for the organization. So super glad you took the time from your busy schedules to be here today and spent it on the summit. I hope you've all gotten some interesting ideas and tips, and you're feeling more informed or equipped to tackle and implement some of these opportunities at your organization. And most of all, I hope you all had fun with me today. Extra special shout out to my fellow moderator, Keith Ward, who donned the Vader mask and really made this a fun day, a fun time. And before you take off today, do make sure to mark your calendars. If you are looking to get a little more information around the cloud, from edge to cloud, how backup solutions are evolving, this Friday we have a short and sweet little EcoCast with a couple of presenters. So if you're looking to kind of explore further some cloud options and what is on the horizon in cloud backup, well, this is a EcoCast for you. That is Friday, September 20th, and it is at 12 p.m. Eastern. And with that, I think we've covered it all, folks. Thank you so much again for being here. I hope to see you all again soon. And until then, I am wishing you all an absolutely magical rest of your days. Take care, everybody.